Hola mis amigos y bienvenidos a una lección breve sobre sé con accidentes. We've been talking a lot about sé, haven't we? And we're going to be discussing it more in this really fun structure of sé with accidents. That's right. This structure is going to allow you to talk about things that went wrong, accidents that happened, or things you did unintentionally. So it's pretty fun, and there's more to that I'll share with you as we get embedded in it. But we'll start with reviewing. Similarly to how we reviewed in the presentation on impersonal sé, I'm going to ask you those same questions to make sure we're all on the same page. Cuando usamos sé, ¿qué es lo que ya sabemos acerca de sé? When do we use sé? What do we already know about sé? So just like you did in the impersonal sé presentation, feel free to take a pause and brainstorm all you know about using sé. And then go to the next slide. Bien, at this point we know 3 official uses of sé. We know that we can use sé as an indirect object pronoun, as in, el médico da la receta a Lola. That sentence can be shortened to se la da, and in that case sé is an indirect object. Preparo el pollo para mi abuela, se lo preparo. And again, these are ideas that you can review with previous chapters in our text. And just let me know if you have questions or need more help reviewing those, because they are important concepts. The second use of sé we know is sé as a reflexive verb. When you do something to yourself, get it? Self, S-E, sé, it all kind of connects. Juan se levanta a las 6 de la mañana y Susana se ducha después de correr. Things those people do to themselves. Juan gets himself up and Susana showers herself. And now we can add in a third use of sé with impersonal sé. Se habla español en esta clase y se leen libros en la biblioteca. So that's all old news. Let's move onward. Now we're bringing in sé with eventos accidentales. And what you see in front of you is a graphic that is a formula you should memorize. And the good news is that if you memorize this formula, you will get these right every single time. If you don't memorize the formula, then you won't be able to get them correct. So it's important to memorize the formula, and let's start to break it down step by step. The first step is sé. Yep. Every single time you use the structure, you will use the word sé. That's step 1. Can't miss that one. Step 2 is having an objeto indirecto. Well, the indirect objects are me, te, le, nos, os, and les. Hopefully you already know those, but you can review them right there. And that tells who this event happened to. So we're talking about accidental events. What's something you've done accidentally in your life? I know you're all very, very conscientious students, but maybe at some point in your life you forgot to do your homework. So if you're saying that you forgot to do your homework, this event happened to you. Bien. The next step in this process is the verbo, the verb. And in this structure, the verb is usually in the third person, and it agrees with the thing, not the person the event happened to. So back to the example of I forgot my homework. The event happened to me. Well, then what would the subject of the sentence be that would agree with the verb? The homework. You starting to get where we're going here? The homework is the subject. The homework is the one who actually did the forgetting. Aha, isn't that neat? So that's the way we have in Spanish of saying that the event was unintentional. I'm not going to be the subject of this sentence. I didn't do anything. It's the homework's fault. So the homework has to be the subject of the sentence. So you'll have your verb that agrees with the subject. And the subject is the thing that was forgotten or dropped or broken, etc. So keeping in mind this formula with steps 1, 2, 3, y 4, let's take a look at some examples. We'll look at our first example. Se me olvidó el número. Look at how I followed the formula. I have se, I have an indirect object with this me, which is me. Then I have a verb that agrees with the subject, and the subject is the thing that did the forgetting, which isn't me, by the way. The number forgot itself to me. I'm an innocent bystander in this tragedy. Se me olvidó el número. You can think of it this way. The number forgot itself to me. That's an awkward translation, but it's a way to get them right. Se me olvidó el número. Let's look at another example. Se le rompieron los platos. Let's start from the end of the sentence. The plates broke. Notice how the plates and broke agree with each other. Los platos rompieron. The plates broke themselves to him. Se le rompieron los platos. Y entonces otro ejemplo, se nos dañó el coche. Again, we didn't do anything wrong. It's the car's fault. The car did this breaking down. It just happened to happen to us. Se nos dañó el coche. The car damaged itself to us. And that's the order in which things happened, ¿verdad? Muy interesante. Let's see if I can erase all this for you, clase, and clean it up so that you continue to use this slide as reference if you need to. Muy bien. That leaves it nice and clean for you so you can go back to your formula with these. Se, followed by an objeto indirecto, then your verb, and then your subject. Let's move on. Bien. What are some of the verbs you'll commonly use in the structure? Here they are. Caer, dañar, olvidar, perder, quedar, romper. So here in the next column, you have a great opportunity to review the meanings of those infinitives and then some examples of all of them in action following the formula that we just learned. Se me cayó el plato. The plate fell itself to me. I didn't drop it, right? It couldn't possibly be my fault. The plate fell itself to me. Se les dañó el coche. The car damaged itself to them. Se nos olvidaron las llaves. The keys forgot themselves to us. Those darn keys. Why do they do things like that? Se te perdió el libro? Did the book lose itself to you? Se me quedaron los boletos en casa. Oh no, the tickets remained at home to me. Those darn tickets stayed at home. I can't believe it. I didn't do anything wrong, but the tickets just stayed at my house. Y se le rompió el brazo. The arm broke itself to me. It's not my fault that I was hanging from a tree. The arm just broke. I couldn't do a thing about it. So it's kind of fun to play with that change in meaning when we use these structures in Spanish. Now, I want to be clear about one thing. When people use these structures in Spanish, are they actually saying that things aren't their fault and trying to claim that they're innocent? Probably not. But it's just a way of saying that something happened and you didn't mean for it to happen. In English, we usually have to overtly say that. We have to say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen. It'll never happen again. Blah, blah, blah. But in Espanol, we have this really cool structure that we can use instead, which I think is kind of fun. Bien, so now you're ready to practice a little bit. Take these 6. I've given you the equivalent in English in parentheses, but you will use our new formula. So make sure you're using our formula, se plus an indirect object plus a verb that agrees with the subject, the thing that did something wrong. Give these 6 a try, pause the presentation and take your time, and then you can check yourself on the next slide. Bien, and here's some respuestas for you, amigos. Número 1, se me olvidaron los libros. The books forgot themselves to me. 2, se les quedó el dinero. The money remained itself to them. The money stayed behind on them. They couldn't do anything about it. Se nos rompió el teléfono celular. The cell phone broke itself to us. Has that ever happened to anyone? That your cell phone just broke itself to you? Se le perdieron los billetes. The tickets lost themselves to him or to her. Se me rompió el brazo. The arm broke itself to me. Y por fin, número 6, se les cayeron los platos. The plates fell themselves to them. In other words, they dropped the plates. But again, this interesting structure allows you to express that you made an unintentional mistake. ¿Eh? Muy bien, pues buena suerte, muchas gracias, and just let me know if you have questions as you continue to practice with sé con accidentes. Muchas gracias.